Buying bikes online is more popular than ever, but there are some challenges to purchasing a bike, and one of the big ones is assembly. Whether it's a traditional bike or an e-bike, you want to make sure when you get a bike that it's put together correctly. The big thing to remember, don't get in over your head. You want to keep yourself safe and the bike in good working order. But if you are comfortable putting together a bike on your own, here are some tips and tricks to get it together safely. The bike that we have here today is an Aventon Aventure. This is a fat tire e-bike. We particularly chose this bike because, number one, it's a big, heavy e-bike. So they are a little more difficult to put together than your average bike. But at the same time, this is a bike that we know is wildly popular and something that you might want to try out yourself. When a box bike shows up at your house, there are a couple of things you want to keep in mind. The first thing is that sometimes the boxes can be super heavy. This box with the bike in it, it's about 45 kg, so it's a little over 90 pounds. This thing's pretty heavy, so if you have to move it, you might want to grab a friend, maybe an enemy, to help you move that bike around. Going through the box, very first thing, take a quick walk around. After you go over the box and make sure everything is good and tight with it, then you want to get to unboxing. Do watch out because these staples can be sharp. They could cut you right open. Make sure everything's there and not damaged. Give it a quick look around, see what you have going on here. Again, making sure that there's no damage that's happened in shipping. We're going to assemble this here on the floor today because most folks don't have a bike stand at home. Some of the tools you're going to want to have handy are a set of metric Allen keys, a set of clippers, a pedal wrench, and a big thing that you're going to want to have is grease. This Aventon here comes with the tools. In one of the small parts boxes, you'll crack it open and you'll find that there are some tools in there for assembly, some grease as well. Then also in the small parts box, you'll have things like your pedals, some reflectors. Now that you've got everything laid out, you can get to assembling the bike. The very first thing you're going to want to do that I like to do is if the seat post doesn't come already assembled in the bike in the box, you're going to throw a little dab of grease in there. That keeps your seat post from bonding to the metal on your frame. So when you're tightening down your seat post into the bike, you want to make sure that you're not putting it above the max height line. So there'll be a max height line noted on the seat post, then clamp everything down. Now on a brand new bike, oftentimes they'll have a little spacer on here. We're going to just quickly remove that cardboard. Before you put your stem onto the bike, I like to take the headset top cap and just put a little dab of grease onto the bolt or into the star nut. That's just going to keep things from bonding to each other down the line. Then you're going to put the handlebar and stem onto the steer tube. You want to make sure that either the spacers are all below or that you have enough space to put the top cap in with your hand. Then take your Allen key, tighten it down a little. So the headset top cap, this doesn't hold everything on. There are other bolts for that. But what this does is this preloads the bearing for your headset. The next thing I like to do is just get the handlebars nice and straight on there, just because it makes everything easier to work on. You're not going to tighten everything all the way yet because you will be doing final adjustments. Oftentimes there will be a little spacer in the fork. Just going to take that out. If your bike has disc brakes on it, often there'll be a pad spacer in between the disc brake pads. You're going to remove that. With this particular e-bike, it has nutted front axle nuts. You're going to want to make sure that the washers are behind the bolt and on the outside of the dropouts. This is where I like to push down on the handlebars, make sure everything's centered in the dropouts before I tighten everything up. When you're putting on the axle nuts, these will go righty-tighty. You don't want to put too much pressure to strip anything out. After you get that front wheel on there, if you're not assembling the bike in a bike stand, I like to just quickly get on, straddle it. This is a good opportunity to just tighten everything down. First, you're going to check and make sure that the headset compression plug on the top is properly tightened. Then you're going to tighten down your stem bolts. Next, you're going to tighten the faceplate on the stem. Make sure that these bolts are greased, just a light little bit of grease, because you don't want to overstrip these. Get the handlebars kind of where you want them. You can always move them down the line, but now's a good opportunity to just get a good base position. Make sure that these are evenly torqued. After you get your handlebar and stem all nice and snug, now's the time to check any of the accessories that might come on here. Make sure that they are tight and positioned where you want them. Now's a good chance to position your brake levers and your shifter where you want them. You probably don't want your brake levers pointing sky high. In the case of the Aventure, the bike has a kickstand on it, which will help to make assembly a little bit easier. When you're putting in things like fender bolts, really important to make sure you're not cross-threading anything. Sometimes there might be a little bit of paint overspray, or the first threads on the bolts might not have the cleanest cut to them. So just go nice and slow. Don't want to go in there, especially with any power tools or anything like that. Just get that on there finger tight. After you have everything on there, just going to make sure it's straight before you tighten it down, because you don't want things like fenders rattling around on you. Not only is it super annoying, but things like fenders can then fall into your tire and rather abruptly stop you, and that is not optimal. Without a bike stand, getting your disc brakes nice and centered can be a little bit of a pain in the butt. The key thing though is to make sure your disc brake caliper is tight. So you want to set up the calipers, making sure if you have hydraulic disc brakes that there's equal distance on each side of the rotor. When putting pedals on your bike, it's important to remember that there's a difference and that there is a right side and a left side pedal, and that they have two different threads on them. Now, another key thing you want to remember is on the threads of the pedals, you are going to put some grease on there. So when you're putting your pedal on, you want to start by getting in there finger tight. Make sure that it's not getting cross-threaded or anything like that. You don't want to mess up the crank arm. After you get the pedal in there a little bit, then you can take your 15mm pedal wrench. And now a quick tip to remember is just back pedal the bike while holding on to the pedal, and then make it snug. Now is a good chance to go through the bike and make sure all the bolts are tight. I like to start either from the front of the bike and work back, or start from the top of the bike and work down, whatever you're most comfortable with. But just take your tools and just go through and make sure everything is nice and snug. So when you're doing your walk through the bike, make sure that this part right here, called the derailleur hanger, didn't get bent in shipping. So you want to make sure your derailleur is nice and tight on there. Want to make sure the pinch bolt is tight. So to just check the gears on your bike, so the quick and easiest way just to check everything here is just click the bike down to the smallest size cog, which is your hardest gear. Then we're going to just make sure that everything is straight. This is a good chance to eyeball and make sure that the derailleur hasn't been bent inwards towards the spokes. So now that you've got your bike all assembled, you want to get it charged up and ready for a ride if it's an e-bike. The very first thing to do is see if there's a charge in the battery. Turn on the light, get that all set up, then turn on the display. Most e-bikes will come with 2 keys. I like to check that the keys both work. So get the keys into the lock, give it a good check, make sure that the right keys came with your bike. Now is a good chance to just check out how the battery comes in and out of your bike. Give it a once over, make sure that all the connections are good, no cracks in the battery or anything like that. Make sure that the battery stays locked. Make sure everything is tight and the connections are tight. There are a couple ways you can charge your e-bike. One will be with the battery in the bike. If you have a removable battery, oftentimes you can remove the battery from the bike and charge it that way as well. Find where the charging port is, charge everything up and get it ready to go. you can remove it and charge it as well. So before you get on your bike and give it a ride, just want to check the tire pressure. And you're just going to inflate to at least the minimum that's printed on the sidewall of the tires. So that's really about it. Those are the things that you'll want to do to get your bike ready to ride. Of course, with every different bike, there's going to be little steps that are going to vary. Just look into what has to be done specifically for your bike, but overall, everything should be good to go and ready to ride.